Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket. Now, when Gus Atkinson of Surrey and Ollie Pope of Surrey combined last night to remove Jason Holder, they robbed England's retiring James Anderson of his chance to equal the late great Shane Warne's record of 708 test wickets. Boo! But with the West Indies 6 down and still 171 runs behind England's first innings score on the morning of day 3, there is still the opportunity for Jimmy to get a farewell fifer at the home of cricket, and that would not be too shabby a way for the great man to bow out. As for this match, well, even with a bit of weather about, you would think it will be done today, but there are still 4 wickets to be taken, and the West Indies will not want to give those up easily. I'm Tony Bishop, and with me, peering from the darkness of his Perth weather cave, it's Messi Jez.
Good morning, Tony. Was it not also Surrey's Jamie Smith who denied Anderson the chance of facing a ball in his last
It's a conspiracy.
Inning?
They won't be happy until they've taken over. They've taken over the BCCI, basically. That's the Surrey long-term plan.
Yeah.
And alongside me, the one and only, the man needs no introduction, so we'll just say the Bear.
Morning, peeps.
Morning.
Quite tired actually on day 4, day 3, isn't it?
You're quite tired.
Yeah.
Well, you're normally, the part of the management that does the rotas tends to try and give you a day off at some point. To sort of
well, I do like doing the first 3 days. And I'm always, I just need it. Yeah.
Well, you'll get those.
Should get 2.5 days off here.
Anyway, Messers, Jimmy, what can we say? What a few words, a few thoughts. This might most likely be his final day in Test cricket. What would you write on his
That sounds strange coming from an Australian, but I'm really going to miss him. I just love watching him bowl. The fact that he never smiles adds to the mystique around him. I think he's just such a focused bowler, and in many ways, I've enjoyed the last 5 years as much as I joined the first 200.
200 years?
It's something like that, isn't it? Approximately.
I don't know. I've not been around that long.
But, geez, I'm going to... I tell you what I think is interesting. They've sort of picked Wokes as the continuity quick for the rest of the series, it seems to me. So that,
quick.
I mean, Stokes...
Quick belies the truth, though, doesn't it? That's the problem.
Yes, it does. I mean, I think there's no doubt that as a fit person, Stokes is actually the best other fast bowler in the team. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of having someone who's reliable and economical in the way that Jimmy could be for long spells.
A tough act to replace, Bear.
Yeah, it is, but I think they'll get away with it this summer, and it's only going to come up really against better teams. I mean, I expect that the West Indies, to be honest, they look poor. Their batting looks poor anyway. The bowling looks all right, but their batting looks distinctly poor. And Sri Lanka, I don't really think will put up much of a fight in England this summer. So
No.
I think it'll be a kind of 6-0. We'll suddenly rocket ourselves up the Test table for the Test Championship. I mean, as per normal, we always seem to start these Test World Championship 2-year periods against India and Australia, and it's always we're looking shit after the first year. But plenty of time to catch up.
Well, West Indies. Let's just talk about the West Indies for a second. Let's just actually pause for a moment, because Jimmy has a guard of honour from both sides as he has emerged down the steps of the Lord's Pavilion. He's greeted by Craig Brathwaite, who shakes his hand, and that guard of honour is West Indies to his left as he walks out, the England team to his right, and the whole of Lords, to a man, woman and child, stands to applaud his currently 703 wickets, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
And over 20 years, 2003, he played his first Test. More Test wickets than any other quick bowler. Third in the list. He will stay third in the list. He's not going to be able to overtake Shane Warne now, but he could still get a 5 for today, and that would be something. And if you're not looking at these pictures, well, there was a moment yesterday, Messrs, I recall, where he was very quickly, even though it wasn't especially sunny, reaching for those wraparound sunglasses.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there was a streak of of tear that you could see just sort of dripping from underneath one of those eyes.
Well, I mean, he's going to miss Lords as much as anywhere, isn't he? And to get that send-off is obviously going to be so emotional for him. It's great to see that despite the fact there's only 4 West Indies wickets to go, the ground is pretty full, certainly at both ends.
Well, I guess there's the promise of a morning, you'd hope, Bear, wouldn't you? I mean, if Josh De Silva, let's face it, can be a stubborn fellow and a very talented one. There's plenty of people wearing wraparound Jimmy masks, which aren't necessarily a good look. He's applauding the crowd. I think
he's tearing up a little bit again.
He's struggling here a little bit. Wow, the atmosphere there must be quite extraordinary. The West Indies batsmen, who must be ever so slightly trying to think we've got to focus on the job in hand, but this is quite an emotional atmosphere that they're emerging into with Josh De Silva, who, as we've said, is more than capable of...
well, he got a Test ton against us, didn't he?
He has got a Test ton against us. He absolutely has.
When Johnny went mad.
Got a 50 not out in the one warm-up game, and they're just that one warm-up game might be part of the West Indies problem. I honestly think...
He did have a Woodstock bat then, of course.
Yeah,
he did. Yes, he did. Yeah. Well, I think judge the West Indies at the end of the series rather than on the very first Test where they had to first face under favourable bowling conditions at Lords. You know, then I think that's very hard
but I
for
mean
any
they
team.
do look callow in that middle order, for crying out loud. I mean, there's
that's
no
not-
experience.
But India have come and fallen over in most of their first Tests in England. Jason has arrived. He's sitting there in the green room, hoping against all hope that he might get to call the finish. He's done his usual Michael Portillo travels on multiple buses to get here, and he's
Portillo doesn't do buses, he does
no,
trains.
he does train. I know. I'm sort of thinking of that, and I don't really
He wouldn't
compare.
deign himself to go on the South London bus system.
But I genuinely think there's a book in Jason about great bus journeys of the world.
What, from Crystal Palace to Sydenham?
Mainly from Palace to Sydenham.
Is it actually a system, Bear? I think that would have been news to a lot of people.
Anyway, we're about to start. It's Gus Atkinson, not Jimmy, who's bowling from the pavilion end. He's in, and it's down the arse, across skips. The impressive young Jamie Smith, who's done very well.
Let's
And,
have
there's
some
no run.
jingles. This guy's batting.
Someone's bowling looseners. Watch him hit a bounty again.
Oh.
See the runs Josh de Silva's counting, yeah.
Well, the reason it was just that because obviously they finished last night when the Holder wicket fell, so it was only a one ball that Atkinson had to deliver.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why. Maybe he thought, I can't take another one. I can't rob Jimmy of his five for as well as stealing from under his nose the Shane Warne opportunity.
We're going to have one of the retiree jingles.
A one-trick thing was hittable if it didn't swing, but deadly when it did. Nowhere that you could have hid. Feast or famine when he had a fling. After Bugger got bashed out by
Well, here he
Bailey,
comes, Jimmy Anderson. He's got 3 slips, and that's wide and frankly a bit of a loosener.
Always got it right.
De Silva
At
can
least
lead.
would keep it tight. Now finally it's time to say goodnight. Fuck off, Jimmy, fuck off, fuck off. Fuck off, Jimmy, good luck.
Well, as you can tell, that was sung in an Australian accent.
Well, there's different ways to say fuck off, and I think that's we'll put that down as an affectionate and respectful one.
Absolutely.
if there is such
Indeed.
a thing. Over the wicket comes Jimmy and dabbed into the onside, fielded at mid wicket, and again there is no run. 79 for 6, still 171 to go, and I suppose, guys, making England bat again would represent a heck of an effort from the West Indies, and probably is the target they might just have in their mind. Josh de Silva
Wouldn't it
could
just?
do it, although no one's rushing to agree with that,
Well,
that summary.
he could do it. I don't know if anyone's there with him
the
to do
first
it with.
target is
100.
seeing Jimmy off.
Well, in he comes, wide again, swinging, going wider. Jamie Smith takes it in front of Joe Root at first slip, and there is no run. Now, is Jimmy bowling from the nursery end here? I'm just trying to work that out. I think he might be. Yeah, he is. So they've switched him to the Tim Murter end, with Compton and Edrich stands behind him. There's a very interesting article about Bill Edrich in the Times today. I think by Mike Atherton. He was.
I don't read the Times.
Yeah. Well, I'll just hold the thought for a minute as Jimmy comes in. That's a better ball. That's right on the money. Defended well though by Josh de Silva. No run. He was something of a shagger apparently. Got himself into all sorts of trouble. Hence probably why he had the 5 wives.
Who's this? Sorry?
Bill Edrich. Yeah, Bill Edrich. And but he is immortalised, of course he is, at Lord's, because if you look as we are now looking at it from the slip cordon in front of the pavilion, Compton to the left and Edrich to the right, wide again of off stump, taken once again in front of the slips by Jamie Smith. Not quite found his range yet.
It's the emotions.
It's the emotions, it's the teary eye. He's got a smile on his face. He's got the flock of nicely tinted hair swept back. He can't bowl in his sunglasses, although it has been done. I think when he's actually got the ball in his hand, the sheer task in hand takes over the emotions. I think it's when he's finished with the ball in hand and he just thinks, I wonder if that is the last time. In he comes. Pass from Tucker, beats the outside edge. That was the archetypal Jimmy. Drew de Silva into the shot, just swung away late, and almost inevitably perhaps he starts with the maiden West Indies remain 171 behind. Messers, who has joined us?
We've got lots of people. Brown in Brisbane says morning all. Leah, Oran Hernandez is blessing all. Trinidad and Tobago here. Oh, great to have you on board, Oran.
Welcome.
Muttley's with us. So he says, how the fuck have I been up since 8 a.m? I've even done a food porn already. Not that I can eat it. It's for when I have guests on Sunday. Brian says, what chance the ECB will contrive a reason to give Jimmy another turn? No possibility whatsoever.
They are trying to keep him on board, though, in a mentor role, and they're looking to carve
a wise
him for
idea.
Yeah.
Getting to teach everybody everything he knows in the next 6 months.
That's
very hard to do. Messers, have you got time for one more?
Well, there is a super chat, and it's actually from me because I put
Atkinson
in $10 yesterday.
This has been launched high. Sorry, Messers. Is it going to drop short? It's taken.
No, it's not.
Isn't it not? Was it dropped?
It bounced.
Oh, it bounced.
He couldn't quite catch up with it.
Oh, okay. Who was it? It was Ben Stokes.
It was Ben Stokes.
Ball over shoulder, launched towards mid-wicket. Wasn't able to get there. First runs on the board for West Indies. They move on to 81 for 6.
It's this man.
Alzari Joseph.
Well, of course
He's not hanging about, is he?
He won't.
He won't. No. I went under 91 and a half for the ball of the first wicket.
Yeah, actually, Stokes did watch that all the way, and he could possibly have thrown in a dive, but it would have been at risk to his teeth, chin, and just about everything else. That's short by Atkinson. Take that, Alzari. If you're going to try and launch me first ball that you face off me, then have some of that.
Charming Yorker.
Yeah, I was saying I had to give $10 yesterday because Moggs jingled.
Oh, look at that. The bell.
And I've had to give another $10 because Perko's won so good as well.
Ah, well, thank you. That's very kind of you. As ever, hugely appreciated. Was that Ian Bishop, wasn't it?
Yes.
There you
the
go.
The commentator. We've seen him on TV loads.
The 5-minute bell rung by a man called Bishop. How appropriate is that?
Well,
as we wait.
I don't know.
Atkinson, whoa, once again launched by Alzari Joseph. There is a man down on the deep mid-wicket boundary, and they'll probably just get a single because it went at some speed to him, didn't he? Did they come back for two, or no, just the one. Bring Josh De Silva back onto strike. So yes, I think Alzari Joseph has made his intentions exceedingly clear. Harry Brook was the man riding that deep mid-wicket boundary in front of the mound stand. It's 82 for 6. It's a long road for the West Indies. Conditions you would think today, it's not as sunny as yesterday. There's plenty of cloud about. That should favour bowling at Lords, even in the second innings, as that Atkinson forces De Silva onto the back foot. Oh, that's everything's going on here. Down the track came De Silva, expecting a single, sent back by Alzari Joseph. It was a misfield by Atkinson off his own bowling. De Silva turned, I have to say, a bit like a oil tanker, slowly and ponderously, and in the end got himself back as the throw came in. It bounced off Atkinson's foot.
Took a big chunk out of the wicket with his boots, didn't
he? He did. It was all
a bit wide of a line.
Messy.
You'd have made it back.
Not how messy, obviously. Atkinson in, and on to his toes goes De Silva and defends that. Probably best to just collect your thoughts a little bit. He's possibly the emotions of the moment and an overexcitedness ruling common sense there. Nitin Menon has signalled a no more ball after Atkinson and his no more.
Over the line!
No more.
That's what I used to say to my kids.
Smokey, you were over the line. That's a foul.
When they were, sweets or anything bad for them, I go, one more, no more. Atkinson in, pulled nicely by De Silva. And that will go down towards, who is that? Is that Chris Wokes down there? I think it is. At backward square. They take a single, and it's belligerent, bruising for a fight, Alzari. So this could be interesting.
Well, he's either going to get 20 or 30.
I don't think we're going to see many stout defensive shots.
We haven't played one yet. They've all been swipes.
So let's see. Atkinson it is who's occupying the pavilion end, which it tends to be Jimmy's favourite end, isn't it? And by and large at Lords, but not today. He's opened up from the nursery end, and they might give him a shot from both ends. Atkinson has just the 2 slips. He's in. There's a swipe, smashed back, one bounce.
No, it's not one bounce.
Oh, one bounce. Did it go
It went all the way? Clearly went all the way.
And now, Gus Atkinson is having a look at the sole of his foot. He's having a look at the pitch. He's basically having a look at anything that isn't actually the fact that it was a pretty average ball that Alzari Joseph, oh fuck it, have some of this.
Maybe it was only 4.
Smashed it. I thought it was. Well, hang on.
4.
Let's have a look.
It ended up on the rope, on the.
Oh, no! It hit the sponge on the full.
Well, no, I think it hit the ground and the sponge at the same time.
What did they give? What's the scorebook say there?
4.
Okay.
Scorebook at the moment says 4.
Well, then I
I think it's going to remain 4.
Let's have a look. They're having several looks at it.
They're just trying to
I
leave it
think
forward to
maybe
give
6.
Bears under a chance.
I think I'd give
I've
that.
still got 1 run left if they do.
That was a 6 to me.
Yeah, just.
I think it just catches the bottom of that sponge.
Yeah.
Knitting Menons stood
yeah.
waiting. And he's given 4.
Given 4.
Oh, knitting.
Yeah.
I've got 3 runs to play with. Excellent.
Farung says, greeting all.
88 for
eyeballs."
6.
Well, Steve Shitcott says, morning all. Can't imagine this will take long, which is just as well as I'm on granddad duty this afternoon. I'm Reno Over says, morning, fantastic guerrilla cricket. So
Morning,
Jimmy,
hombre.
we salute you.
Well, Jimmy's in. He's beaten the bat again. He's got the edge. De Silva has edged behind. Jamie Smith has taken it comfortably. Jimmy's 1 more towards that fifer. And the West Indies are 1 more towards defeat.
That was a
Well bowled. What
that
a
was
delivery.
a classic Jimmy delivery.
And that you have to think was a big one.
The one that swings away, tempts them into the shot, big edge, boom,
yeah.
straight through to the keeper. Easy catch.
Well done, Jamie Smith. There to be taken. And he took it comfortably enough. I mean, I'm not saying Folkes or Bairstow wouldn't, but nonetheless, it had to be caught, and he caught it. And I think that's the Anderson family that we're zooming in on. Family, friends, daughters, cousins, aunties,
Wife.
uncles, and everybody else. So Josh De Silva departs.
How old's his youngest daughter? She must be like in her late teens or 20s. Or
No, I don't think quite that old, but yes, there's. You got to remember, he's a man in his 40s.
Well, exactly. You probably had, sportsmen can have kids early because they get genuine. I mean, look, Foden's got what, 3 kids, and he's about 22 or something. Because you've got shitloads of money, you can afford to have kids early. Whether you get divorced or not doesn't really matter.
I don't think he had that much money early on.
I saw a wonderful
Ben
picture.
McCormick,
Oh, sorry,
good
go
morning,
on.
everyone.
Good morning, good morning.
Easy Ollie says, hopefully Jimmy finishes like Brody did. Jamar the Statsman says, will they go Tong as a replacement for Anderson? Be interesting to see.
Well, Joe Tongue, you've got Pennington being tried out, so you've got Potts to come back. You've hopefully got Ollie Stone, who might eventually stay fit long enough to be considered.
Doesn't he go to the
there's a
back of the
few
ranks
options.
though? He's had so many chances and been so injured. He's kind of think, well, maybe he's not one to trust him.
Gudakesh Moti is our new man. Anyway, shall we give him a jingle?
Yeah, we can give him a jingle. It sounds like this.
From Georgetown, Guyana, where he had his first nets, to his debut against Bangladesh. He ain't no kid, but his face is fresh. An island boy named Gudakesh, who took his chance when spinning the ball in his second test, got a 13-hole. Go, go. Go, Moti, go, go, go. Go, Moti, go, go.
Bit more Perko, I think. He missed. We'll wait. As in comes Jimmy to Gudakesh Moti, slants it across him. It's easy enough to leave, and through it goes to Jamie Smith. He missed the first 3 days of the first-class counties game at Beckenham because his flight was cancelled.
Oh,
So,
Yeah,
which is not the best prep, was it? Well, I guess that would be the reason rather than.
It was the same for Shamar Joseph. He couldn't get to the game.
Oh no, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
I could presume because of the hurricane, wasn't it?
Yep.
He played in the World Cup, of course, and he played with some distinction, as I recall. Didn't do much with the bat because he wasn't really ever called upon to do it, but he took plenty of wickets. In comes Anderson again. That's wide. Moti wasn't sure what to do with that. His feet stayed where they were, and he sort of reached and dangled and waggled without effect. And through again it went to Smith. So Jimmy, now let me see. 32 5-wicket hauls and 3 10-wicket hauls. Best, of course, at Lords in 2017 against the West Indies. That 7 for 42. He's now on 704 wickets. More importantly, today he's on 3. 2 more he gets on the Lords Honours board for his farewell. That swings back in to Moti, but he's nicely tucked in behind it. And there is no run. Are we watching this De Silva delivery? No. Oh,
We're going to watch the setup.
We're going to watch the setup. First ball wide. Second ball wide, but a little bit closer. Drew De Silva into a drive. Third ball on his off stump. Just moved away enough. Took the edge. It was the 3-card trick there. Near enough.
How often have we seen that?
Well, indeed. That's beautifully defended by Moti, just to prove a point. I can bat, you know. Don't write us off yet. Well, I think we sort of have, but they won't want to go down without a fight. And that was it went just to mid-off. So you've got Moti, who possibly is not renowned as a big hitter, but possibly can stick around. You've got Alzari Joseph, who has no intention of sticking around unless it's to smash the ball at every opportunity. We might be in for some fun. And all the while, watching the farewell of the great Jimmy Anderson and wondering, can he get to that fifer? In he comes to Gudakesh Moti. That's down leg, well taken again by Jamie Smith. 81 miles an hour. 88 for 7. It is the end of the over. It's 88 for 7. 38 overs completed. 162 runs behind are the Windies and Messers.
Parrot Badger is the true Gorilla fan. He says, Gorilla bus tours, live streamed journeys around Greater London and further afield. I'd tune in.
Jason, there's a thought.
Chris Acquire says, I have to suggest The Man with the Child in His Eyes in honour of Jimmy and Kate Bush, who share a birthday, as do I, at the end of the month.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's good company you're in, Chris.
That is good company. Kate Bush, whenever I hear... I once fell asleep next to her in a restaurant, which is rather rude of me. I wasn't having lunch with her, I was on the next table, and I got completely pissed and nodded off.
Oh, not you, surely.
I'm
Morgan previously said, to paraphrase Ultravox, bowling with tears in his eyes.
Yeah, well, he is.
And lots of love for Jimmy and that wicket from Jamar and Alan McKenzie. Easy Ollie says Dan Worrell will 100% be selected when he's eligible next summer. He's certainly a good prospect. Fluffy says, evening, it's the second test starting after lunch. 90 all out, says Joshua. The second test will be with you from Trentbridge on Thursday, of course.
We will indeed. We'll be here for that. John Turner, of course, is in that mix of fast bowlers that England have their eye on. So he played in the first-class Counties 11 game at Beckenham, for sure. 2 slips for Atkinson, who's bowling to Alzari Joseph, who swings hard and gets a top edge, which evades Atkinson and just misses mid-off, who came flying around. And did he get a single? He should have surely got a single.
Now he's asking for that new bat.
He wants a new bat.
I don't know. There was one just bought out and he sent it off again.
Yeah, he did get a single anyway. He'll move on to 8. He was eyeing up, launching that high and handsome into the stands, but he got a top edge back over Atkinson's head, which he definitely not where he was aiming it.
I don't even know how it got where it did.
Well, it was a bit of a miracle. He was eyeing up the mound stand, and it ended up plopping just behind the umpire, to be honest. Anyway, he survives. He's having a look at that bat. I think Alzari, come on. I don't think you should be blaming your bat. Mind you, we do commend the have a go spirit. There's nothing wrong with that. 3 slips now for the new man Moti. And that's aiming at the stumps in exemplary fashion from Atkinson, but was well defended. And there's no run. 89 for 7. We're in the 39th over. That might a ball start to reverse if that's ever likely to be a...
I don't think it's going to reverse at Lords, but it's generally after about 40, isn't it?
Yeah. We shall see. And as I think the Bear said, it's fantastic to see, a packed Lords. And that's Short
Indeed.
and Moti ducks. And
I think they'll
Smith
feel they
takes-
got their money's worth just with that wicket of Jimmy's, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those days as you get older in life, you want to be telling your inevitably disinterested grandchildren, I was there when.
Yeah, I was
But
there
you
when
wanna-
England won the World Cup.
Yeah, were you?
Yes.
It's funny because you've never mentioned it.
Never.
You and
Oh,
Fred.
dear.
In comes Atkinson. The 3 slips go down. Moti lofts this actually quite cleverly. It's up and over extra cover. I think that might go the whole way. Is it going to? It's slowing down. There's a man after it who puts in the dive
it's
and
Jimmy.
gets there. It's Jimmy Anderson.
I don't think he saved it though.
I think he did.
I think he got his hand there, but I think he hit the sponge before he let go.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what it looked like to me.
fighting
Yeah.
for the cause to the last. Have they actually signalled the 4? Let's have a look. He gets in the dive. He flicks it back. He's not touching the sponge yet.
Oh, there you got it. You did it.
And
well
unless
done. Good old man.
Jimmy Anderson, he's saved his side a run. If they give this as a 4, that will be,
Not touching, not touching, not touching.
Stuart
Hasn't got the
Atwell
ball.
level.
That's good.
Poor decisions.
That is a really good save. He's only saved 1 run. But good on him. Giving
think
it his
that could
all
be
at 42.
Big cheer.
It is all well done.
Oh,
Jimmy.
your under must have come in, did it, there?
The first one did. I got another one under
Atkinson
95 and a
in.
half.
Swing by Alzari Joseph, who almost swung himself off his feet, and the ball ends up in the gloves of Jamie Smith, so from which you could deduce he didn't get anything on it. 92 for 7. Atkinson, but he does get that bit lift off the pitch, Bear, doesn't he? Does Atkinson?
Yeah, he's bowled well. I mean, again, against
I mean,
what's been a poor West Indies display, you don't really know when he comes up against the better side.
I think somebody will be looking at
the
this.
test.
Will be with a fair degree of satisfaction. Will be Brendan McCullum, whose decisions by and large have been pretty well vindicated.
Yeah.
Atkinson's shown what he's capable of. Jamie Smith, well, the way he accelerated yesterday more than vindicated that choice, I think. That's another almighty waft from Alzari Joseph, which he makes no contact with whatsoever. And it's the end of the over. 2 for 40 for Gus. 92 for 7, 158 behind. The West Indies are the wicket that's fallen to Jimmy, and it was the very important one of the potentially stubborn De Silva. Messers.
I think he's been using the same batting manual as showed in the first innings. Ben McCormick says, I don't know about anyone else, but I reckon this Anderson lad has shown a bit of promise. Worth another test or two. Indeed. Mog says they really should just be spooning Jimmy up in the air to get him that 5 for. And Pokey said, disappointing swan song test for Jimmy though. Shame, should have had at least the full series.
Yeah, see, I'd have thought they'd
agree.
have given him the first series to get exactly that, to get Warney's thingy, and then because if they're going to, I mean, if the whole point was showing something new, you know what Wokes does, and you give Jimmy a swan song and you keep Wokes out the side and tried 2 other new bowlers. We've only tried 1 new bowler actually in this test, that being Gus Atkinson. So
Well, Jimmy, from the nursery end, around the wicket to the left-handed Moti, who turns him off his hip. Backward a square. The squat, short, compact, insert adjective here, Duckett, does the fielding. And there's no run. We've got to come up with some more Duckett descriptions. What else can we have? Give us some
Short
suggestions.
ass.
Well,
Yeah.
short, why not? Short, stout, compact,
like a little teapot.
teapotty Duckett. Anderson in. Oh, he beats the outside edge. Joe Root leaps in the air, hands high. Thought there might be a shout. There wasn't really. It's through to Smith, and there's no run.
Mog suggests Lilliputian.
The Lilliputian. Wonder which way he puts up his. He cracks his egg. Wasn't that the battle was in Gulliver's Travels about which end you crack your boiled egg?
I've forgotten that.
Never read the book.
Round the wicket comes Anderson. Up onto his toes goes Moti, and well, I wouldn't say he looked massively in control of that shot. It was more of sort of fenced into the offside rather than nailed.
I'm going to have some
He's
fun
still there.
and go for a run out for the next fucking wicket.
No, you can't do that. We don't want run-outs.
Yeah, but I want
No.
22 to 1.
Well, oh dear, oh dear, oh
Comedy
dear.
run out in a fucked up game.
Hang on, can you afford a comedy run-out? 3 wickets left, Anderson on 3. You can afford a comedy run-out, providing Jimmy gets the other 2. So you're okay with that. In he comes. That was much better defence from Moti. And even in his head, I don't think he's thinking, well, if I just keep doing that, and Alzari keeps getting away with it at the other end, and we just keep ploughing on till tea time Sunday, you never know. But
And Mog, who has read Gulliver's Travels, says, yes, you're correct, Tony.
thank you, Mog. No greater vindication could a man have. 92 for 7. As in comes Anderson. That's launched by Moti.
Wow.
I think he's got all of that. Is it going to pitch? No, it pitches
It's
short, but it
short.
was up and over, long on. And has got him a boundary. Can't do that to Jimmy, but he just has. I mean, and this is the old debate, isn't it? I mean, if you're the West Indies now, Bear, you got 2 ways. It's just block, 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 block,
Hit.
block, or have a go, have a go, have a go. You might as well have a go.
Yeah.
You're here to entertain the crowd after all. But yeah, they will be disappointed. But I genuinely feel, from their perspective, judge them after 3 games, not 1.
Yeah, true.
Anderson round the wicket, well defended again by Moti. Back to the great James, who stoops to field rather than to conquer, although he has conquered already. He's having a bit of a joke with Rod Tucker. It's the end of the over. He's gone for 3 for 15 off 13, as economical as ever, and it's 96 for 7, Messrs.
Parrot Badshaw suggests duckling ducket. Chris Quire says ducket in the slips is frog-like, both in stance and stature. Fluffy Duck Speak, that's a good handle, says 2 opposite batting techniques that look similar. Leah says, I will fall back on German space opera Perry Röntgen to call ducket an Epsala. And Pirate Badshaw says, is the motivation there to have a go?
Oh, the motivation. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Who was that from?
Pirate Badger.
Pirate Badshaw is one of yours,
Top
mate.
man. He's in my club of terrible punsters. Well, Arthur Atkinson's going to continue. And that little
Swing or
scurrying
miss?
run of his. Swing from Alzari Joseph.
not got
Up
no-
high it goes.
And he's caught.
It's taken this time. It's taken, I think it is, by the lad himself, is it?
the frog-like stature.
Is it the small, squat, frog-like duckety ducket? I think it was. It's been taken. Atkinson, well, he then has his 10 for the match, doesn't he?
He's got 3 in this. Yeah, he
Yeah,
does
so
then,
there's
yeah.
his 10 for the game. So that's warm applause for him, but he's not allowed any more. And Alzari Joseph dies by the sword. Well
I
taken,
think that
by
is
the
going to
way.
be out,
Ben
Fred.
Duckett.
Another one bites the dust.
Duckett from backward square, scurrying round to almost meet head-on Chris Wokes, who was coming the other way from fine leg. Duckett must have called mine, 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 and took it brilliantly. Well done, Atkinson. Bad luck, Alzari, but he came for a good time, not a long time. 8 off 9, and it's 96 for 8. And, well, 154 is almost academic that West Indies
Auntie
trouble.
Andy is back with us. Says, morning, Gorilla Cricket. It's been a while. Warren says, morning all, never more. Martin White says, apologies if you did this on day 1. Before Atkinson made his debut, there had only been 2 Test cricketers called Gus. Who were they? It was Gus Logie
Fraser?
and
Gus Allen.
Gus Fraser. Yeah.
Had to be Fraser, the other one. Is that right? That does surprise me. That really does surprise me.
We did do that on day 1.
Well, it's sort of contraction of Angus, which is what it is, of course.
Of course, yeah.
That's extraordinary. Absolutely remarkable. I mean, there can't have been
not
many
many Scots playing cricket, eh?
There can't have been many Gutakeshes, but then
Yeah.
that's...
Yeah.
Although even Gutakesh Moti, it says his name's been recorded as different things. Apparently he had an incorrectly named passport. He did.
Mog says, hey, that traffic bollard just took a catch. And Truffy says, if it catches, it's a duck.
Well, we have a brace of Josephs now at the crease because... we don't because Aljari Joseph is gone. One Joseph goes, another Joseph comes in.
We'll give him a jingle, I suppose. It's Shamar.
It's Shamar, he's going to face Atkinson.
Jesus, Mary, and Shamar Joseph.
Edge!
Who's this coming up out of the lists?
You can carry on, you know.
Edged wide at third. And then 2, 3, 4 bounces before it reached the lad himself, as Ferron calls him, which always makes me think of Tony Hancock. But I don't really see Ben Duckett and Tony Hancock in the same sort of bracket, other than that reference. 10 for 86, best figures on debut. John Ferris of South Africa against South Africa in 1892 as the best figures on debut. 13 for 91 if you look at match figures as opposed to innings. Alec Bedser's up there. Frederick Martin, Charles Marriott, Alec Bedser, John Lever against India in Delhi, and then after that comes the admirable Gus.
Nobody since John Lever has taken 10 for on debut.
Extraordinary. In comes Atkinson, short, and Moti ducks underneath it. Through to Smith it goes, and at the end of this over, Bear, we're not going to see it home. I think the intrepid bus explorer Jason will be in, as will our new an enthusiastic new team member.
Mog.
Yes, Mog. No, Mog.
Yeah, Mog.
I was thinking more of Hector.
I'm not enthusiastic.
Well,
You're never enthusiastic, Mog.
you're going to have to look after young Hector for us with Jason. Atkinson in, up onto his toes. Goes Moti, prodded down to forward short leg, and there's no run. 2 balls left of the over. Well, the 8 down. We could still finish it there. 2 balls left, 2 wickets to go. But surely Atkinson must have read his script that said, make sure Jimmy gets a 5 for.
I don't think Jimmy is going to get a 5 for. I know you already want him to, but I just don't see it happening.
Well, he's going to bowl the next over. He's in the game.
Oh, he is in the game.
He's in the game. In comes Atkinson. There's a leg slip and is it 4 slips, but it's well defended by Gutakesh Moti. Back to him. 86 miles an hour. He's got that extra couple of yards.
The good thing about Atkinson is this is his 3rd day, 2nd innings. He's bowled in and he's still got his pace up. And there are bowlers who
he has.
Finney was one, wasn't he? He
Here
always
he
bowled
is.
at 90 miles an hour for 1, and then he'd be down in the mid-80s for the rest of the day.
Fresh off the number 54 from Penge. It's the intrepid bus explorer himself, Jason Hiscock's about to come and take over. That's past the outside edge of Moti, taken
That's come to
by
the driving
Jamie
seat.
Smith. Yes, do you sit at the front, Jason? Upstairs and at the front, so you get the best view. Was that the end of the over? Well, it's time for us to take a break. It's time for Jason to come in and with Hector.
If we don't keep going for half an hour, I'll catch you at Trent Bridge on Thursday.
And welcome today, everyone, for the denouement of this test match. Mog, what have we got on tweets?
The downward spiral. I don't think we have any new tweets. Mr. P on YouTube says, morning all. Surprise! It's not over yet. But give it another 10 minutes.
And welcome to Hector, who's in the studio for the first time, I believe.
Morning, everyone.
Well, we were just talking in the green room, Hector, about what they're going to do to ensure that Jimmy Anderson gets a 5 I had the idea that now Atkinson's got his 10 he'll be pulled out of the attack, and Ben Stokes will probably take the responsibility of not bowling at the other end. Anderson in, and that's fished at by Moti. Sorry, Shamar Joseph. And there's no run. And that he would either bowl himself and not bowl attackingly at the wickets, or he would instruct whoever is bowling to not attack the wickets, similar to Javagal Srinath when Kumble was taking his 10 about 20 years ago. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's the Basball way?
Well, could we see Harry Brook come on to bowl perhaps?
Ben Duckett.
And that's in by Anderson, played serenely off the back foot by Joseph, compared to his first innings debacle, where he got into all sorts of a mess trying to hit the ball to square leg and ended up caught at point.
Well, I think the Bazball way is more, as you said in the green room, win the game, go home, have a couple of beers, play around a golf in the afternoon. I don't think they're too focused on the fifer at the moment.
Anyway, it's all about Anderson in this over at least. He's coming in again. That's a better ball and a big swish by Joseph, but he doesn't contact the bat. West Indies still 97 for 8, trailed by 153. I don't think there's any way that they can get up to making England bat again.
No.
I hope not.
No.
And two left-handers. That should be Anderson's. His eyes should be lighting up with two left-handers at the crease. Here he is, and that's angling in at the stumps. It's blocked by Joseph, and then Stokes has a fling from wide mid-on at the bowler's end. Apologises for his exuberance and inaccuracy.
Well, there it is again. The attempted setup, saw it in the last over, went wide of off stump, and then just brought it back in a touch to find the edge. Attempted that again.
Had that been on target, that would have been quite close. He just grounded his bat as the ball went over the stumps.
Over the stumps by about 16 metres, though.
And that's a short ball from, and that's magnificently not caught by Smith, but he did get enough glove on it to stop it going to the boundary.
Was that deliberate from Jimmy? Short ball, 81 miles an hour?
I don't know. It certainly took off the pitch, and that he did very well, Smith, to even get a hand on it the way it was going down the leg side.
Trail by 150. Don't think these two will be able to see that off.
Anderson having a little bit of a grumpy moment there. He's in again, and that's again swinging in, and that's another slightly untidy piece of keeping by Smith. Has he saved the run? No, I think Bashir hasn't managed to get round at fine leg, and that's going to be a boundary. Let's just see. Just looking at it again.
Could be well round there from.
And nope, that's he's done his best. He's put the full dive in, but that's a 4. Also, Bashir, we were talking about that in the green room as well. He's had a fairly easy ride for his first Lord's Test, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, I was saying yesterday, he's just going fine leg to fine leg all day. I feel almost bad for him.
And then being run out by an absolute missile from Louis from the boundary. Yeah. The more you look at that, the more impressive that throw is.
It really was. The pick-up speed as well.
Well, it's not just that. It's the fact that he had time to pick it up, sight the target, have steady himself, and then launch an absolute rocket.
Not much Bashir could have done there.
No, probably not. Remind me, where's the next game? Trent Bridge?
Trent Bridge, then Edgeworth.
Not really a spinner's wicket, so
no.
This was his one probably opportunity in the first 3 to have a decent outing. Anderson, final ball. And that's just clipped off his legs by Joseph. He'll retain the strike. That's the end of the over. West Indies 103 for 8. Joseph goes to 3. Moti's on 7. Mog.
Stephen Kelk wants to know if I've cashed in my new Patreon powers yet. I've been told I'm not allowed to make them do whatever I want and dance like puppets on my string. So, sadly not.
If you move to the elite level of Patreons then?
I am, apparently. I haven't actually checked, to be honest. But let's just say I am all-encompassing. Fluffy says, Los Pollos Hermanos, Hector, Gus, there's a thing going on here. And Chris Coy says, Jimmy's broken the 4,000 ball barrier. Does anyone have more balls? I think there's 3 spinners that have got more balls. Murali, Warren and someone else.
As in delivered?
Delivered, yeah, in tests.
4,600 overs? No. Must be more than that,
40.
surely.
40,000.
Yes, there's 40,000. Because there's a stat that Hector is going to trot out in a minute about Jimmy Anderson and the 40,000 balls that he's delivered. Meanwhile, Atkinson's going to continue 3 for 41 over the wicket. Short ball to Joseph. Joseph backs away and tries to swat it over mid wicket. Doesn't get it anywhere near it. Repurses a shot. I think we need to probably move it up about a foot to get hold of it.
Yeah, so as of this morning, assuming that Jimmy's kept his 19-yard run up, he has walked a total of 430 miles, which by chance is the distance on foot to walk from the Utilita Bowl to Chester Street via every test ground that England has had during his career.
I was quite surprised by that stat, actually. I thought he would be more than 430 miles for starters, for that Jimmy has, I don't think walked in, but run in with his 40,000 deliveries.
How many shoes is that?
Don't know. Atkinson. And that's a perfect Yorker. He's bowled it full, he's bowled it straight. Joseph has walked away, tried to carve it through the offside, and that's castled the bottom of off stump, taking it out of the ground. Atkinson gets another one. That's 4 for this innings and 11 for the match. That means Jimmy, unfortunately, is not going to get a 5 foot on his exit from Test cricket.
Disgrace.
You silly little boy, what on earth were you playing at? Oh!
And that's silly for 2 reasons. 1 for the shot and 2 for the fact that he bowled on the stumps.
Yeah, well, Joseph just slightly rogue, opened himself up, tried to open up the offside, I think it was. Foolish Yorker, and 9 down now, the West Indies for 103, trailed by 147. The end is in sight. Will it be Jimmy or will Gus get another 5-er?
That would be quite some debut if he gets 12 wickets. I think looking at that list that they showed recently, that's only one person ahead of him in that list. I think the top guy got 13 on debut. Anyway, Mog, whilst we have the opportunity, any more socials?
Warren says on Twitter, can we find an Achilles to do ball by ball? Which I imagine is a cunning reference to there being a Hector, I guess.
Yes, don't get hit in the ankle.
Avoid when you get dipped in the river, get dipped properly. Stephen Kelk says everyone gets 11s these days. And Jamer, the statsman, says give Jimmy a send off and carry him off.
Right, well, there is one man to come. It's going to be this guy to the wicket.
Oh well, wherever you are, Sills Jaden's gonna get ya, no matter how far. See the blow watching it, shed upon my head. Sills Jaden wants you for dead.
And he's got a massive average of 5.3 from his 11 tests.
Looking good for Atkinson here. 4 deliveries to come.
Well, Bear, you can put your under on now, I think. Moti, could he be not out for the second innings in a row?
Could be. Looks here that Stokes is having a deep conversation with Atkinson, whether it be just a bowl
I think as in the spirit of basketball, you should tell him, go and get your 5 for bait.
Jimmy in the screen as well. Bit of shadow batting. Not going to need that anymore.
Well, lots of left-handers for him not to take the wickets off in this innings. Well, there seems to be some delay for some reason. Stokes has finally finished giving his advice and dispensing it into the ear of Atkinson, and Atkinson is running in, and that was really not worth all the effort. That's down the arse, wide, high, handsome, and totally ignored by Seals.
Well, yeah,
that's foot wide of his buttocks. That's the way to do it.
Well, if he's been told not to take any further more wickets, then that's the perfect ball, but I don't see that as being particularly helpful. I was wrong, in fact, actually, looking at the list of best wicket takers on debut, there's one person who's got 12 as well as one person who's got 13. So
In the late 1890s, God.
Atkinson, that's better, that's straighter. It's rising on Seals, who plays that very comfortably down into the ground.
Yeah, again, just digging it into the wicket. Short leg has come in. Ollie Pope at short leg, of course, took the catch to dismiss Holder at the end of yesterday's evening session.
That really was a death knell, wasn't it? No. Holder was the last person they really could build a decent innings around, and to see him gone at short leg, really not having a clue about where the ball had gone.
Yeah, it was sad. It was sad to see in a way, because he did grind out, I think, 60 balls.
Atkinson has another short ball. That's across him this time. Seals flinches slightly and drops his hands.
But again, yeah, Holder looked quite uncomfortable because the plan was clearly there. 3 people back behind square, deep on the boundary, and then Pope in at short leg. He just looked a bit unsettled for 6'7" of him. You thought he'd use the levers, but ended up spooning it up to Pope at short leg.
Good catch by Pope, though. He did have to make some distance forward, but once he'd noticed that it was coming his way. Atkinson. That's another one down the arse. I do get the feeling he's being slightly stage managed to make sure that Anderson takes the last wicket.
Yeah, looks that way.
And that's
Playing with fire. These two will put
end of the over.
170.
Atkinson's got 4 for 41. West Indies are 103 for 9.
On YouTube, Fluffy says that he's heard a stat that Jimmy's seen off 8 PMs.
Yes, I think that's right. Now that we have a PM,
just in the last 5 years, we've had about that many.
We'd have 4 in the last 5 years, I think.
It's like Italy. Easy Ollie says, "What legendary career ends? Hopefully, one's just beginning with Atkinson."
Yeah, certainly hope so. Having seen quite a lot of Atkinson at Surrey, he's a genuine quick talent. There doesn't seem to be like Jofra Archer. Doesn't seem to be much effort in his run-up, and then this ball just wangs out.
Yeah, he's not the tallest either. I think 6'2". Well, he's tall, but he's not your Jason Holder-esque. But he finds a lot of bounce, a lot of pace. Yeah, as you say, sort of ambles in, but very quick, very accurate, as we've seen this Test match.
Anderson continue round the wicket, and he's just dropped an absolute goober. I don't think
World Cup champ.
I don't think he even believed that. But he's got the grace to grin about that.
Looked as if he thought it was a bump ball there. He
did.
Stuck his hand out as if he was trying to stop it.
I mean, that wasn't coming back at any pace at all. He went one-handed at it. He had plenty of time to get both hands to it.
Don't think it comes easier.
It's like he was just. No, I'm just going to stop that.
Yeah. Well, he's in
It's
good
like it was
spirits.
tossed to him by the wicketkeeper.
Anyway, he's in again. Big in-swinging ball. That's played off the inside edge by Moti. Will he get back for 2? Yes, they will, comfortably, as Duckett fields on the boundary edge. If he's not grumpy now, I don't think he ever will be.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Pennington, who I assume will come in next Test match, see how well he can bowl in partnership with Atkinson, see if that can become a new...
Well, there's Mark Wood to come back in at some point in the summer as well, so...
Maybe for the Sri Lanka series. Or the Edge Bastard.
Well, it's not as though he got exactly overused in the World Cup. I mean, he could probably come in fairly soon. Anderson, that's angling in at the stumps again and just knocked down by Moti. Short leg has disappeared, and that's fielded for no run by mid-wicket or square leg. And looking at Anderson's Test career, something like over half the wickets are caught by the keeper and or others.
Only 12 caught and bowled, though. Now we know why.
Again, Anderson attacking the stumps with an in-swinger to the left-hander, and there's no run. Well, Ben, you must be enjoying it now. If you don't enjoy it now, when are you ever going to enjoy a Test match?
Well, surely they should take Atkinson off after after he was showing signs of just dragging it down leg at the end of last over. I wonder who would come on for him though.
I thought in the green room that he should take the responsibility himself, Stokes. Wokes hasn't particularly impressed in this match, but she hasn't even had a chance. That's a Yorker from Anderson, and Moti's got good bat on that through the covers, and Ben Stokes put in the futile dive on the boundary edge as the ball just trickles over the boundary for a 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Anderson just striving for a Yorker there, just got it just slightly wrong by maybe 6 inches to a foot, and that's all it takes for somebody to get the bat on the ball.
Well, Moti's actually looked pretty solid so far for his 13 off 23, hasn't
he? Looked pretty good in the first innings as well.
He did, yeah.
He certainly looks better than number 9, Anderson. Again, and that's another ball that's driven without any timing back to mid-off. And that's the end of the over. West Indies 109 for 9. Moti makes to 13 off 24. Seals is still not out.
Well, he was trying to creep for the single at the end of that over. Ben Stokes just got a hand to it, but single was there. Don't think he trusts Seals too much, but you wouldn't with an average of 5.3 or whatever it is. Looks like Atkinson's going to continue from the pavilion end.
That dive from Stokes was just to make it look like he was really trying. It was purely for the bowler and the coach, not for stopping the ball.
Yeah, it's not even that wet and greasy where you can catch up to the ball. So as it is, Atkinson to continue over the wicket, just outside off stump, and Seals takes the opportunity to get off strike and get his first run. Just bunted up to mid-off, where Stokes fields.
Well, the wicket this Test match, I'm in two minds about it, because at first glance it does look pretty hard and pretty solid, but there's a little bit out there for the bowler, as you can see, the occasional odd bounce.
Yeah, the bounce has been good. The pitch has been fairly true most of the time. Atkinson with a very attacking field, and that's short and rising, and Moti tries to pull that into the wide open unvacated vacated spaces of the field, but can't get anything on it. I mean, there's 4 slips, a leg slip, a short leg. There's plenty of space out there if you can get bat on ball.
Showing the Jimmy drop catch again. He did seem in good spirits about it.
Well, that would have been almost the perfect way to finish off with a caught and bowled.
Next over.
Atkinson again, that's wider. Moti has a swat at that outside off stump, trying to chop some wood, but doesn't get hold of it again. And he's slightly down on pace. That's 83 miles an hour for Atkinson.
Well, Jimmy hit 82 last over, I noticed. Finding a bit more pace as the end looms.
You do wonder how many wickets he would have taken had he not had those 3 years where they messed with his action and basically ruined him. Talk about that in a minute. That's another ball by Atkinson that's edged low down, outside 4 slip. Brook can't get to it. And that's flown to the third man boundary for one of these.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Catchable chance there to his left.
Went quickly, but that was within his ambit just about. I mean, it's going very quickly, and he's very short at 4th.
How long was Jimmy out for when he had his... Didn't he have a stress fracture early on in his career? I think?
From about 2005 to 2007, they tried to remodel his action, and he had a stress fracture as a result. And short ball, Moti swats that, and that's going to land in the wide open spaces and plug. Anderson has to go and field it, throws the ball in with a slightly vexed demeanour.
He's had to do a lot of running so far this morning. Good boundary save a couple overs ago. Still got it.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what Anderson's view on this. I mean, there are two opposing views. One is he could have got 800 wickets if he continued bowling with the same action as he did when he was 23, 24. The other thing is, after this ball, same again. That's smoked over mid-off again. Mid-on, sorry. Anderson's doing a lot of sprinting here. And they only get 2. The other argument is that those 3 years told him enough about his body that he could then continue for the next 15. Otherwise, he might have only gone for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from the interviews he's spoken about it. He says he still wants to go. He says he's feeling as fit as ever, but of course he got the tap on the shoulder and not much he can do.
The shepherd's crook. Anderson, Atkinson, not Anderson. Goes for the Yorker, doesn't get it, and Moti had just smoked that through extra cover, all along the floor, past the diving Stokes for another boundary.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
Very much a T20 sort of white ball shot there, opening up his body.
Well, Moti now's the top scorer for the West Indies in this innings, and just by, as you say, opening up and being a little bit more aggressive, I think maybe in the couple Test matches to come, it would be quite nice to see.
Well, I think it'd be 8 next Test, probably.
Well, it'd be nice to see the top order being a bit more aggressive. They were quite conservative in the first, in this Test match, at least.
Well, the one
the stats man says take Atkinson off for a spinner. Give Bashir a bowl.
Well, Bashir's had almost a TFC in this match.
And Warren says back to the good old days of 3-day Test matches.
Well, it's only 3 days to go to the end of the third day. It's going to be 2.5 days at most.
I'm not even going to get to lunch.
Anderson over the wicket. That's just outside our stump, and Seals gives that a big wind up, doesn't get an edge on it, and the ball sails harmlessly through to Smith.
Just broke his wrist at the end there, Seals. They didn't follow through with the drive, but no harm done.
Yeah, that was a drive along the line of off stump rather than the line of the ball, which just moved slightly away down the hill, up the hill, sorry. Let's not forget that Anderson is bowling from his unusual end for him, and that's much better by Seals. That's the in-swinger to the left-hander. Seals has got a decent amount of bat on that, beaten the mid-off on the inside, and that's another 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
pretty good shot by number 11. That
not much foot movement, but very nice timing, straight down the ground.
And a straight bat.
5 off 7 for Seals.
He's at his average.
Well, must be time for him to go home then. Anderson ran the wicket. That's played into his pads. Looks around for wonders where the ball's gone. Gets called through, and then responds very late to Moti's call, but that's safe enough because everyone's catching.
Root at leg slip just seems to be inching closer every ball. I'm not too sure why, but he is quite close.
It's almost a Trescothic-like leg slip. He's on his knees almost.
Very much so.
And looking at the rebuilt Compton and Edrich stands, it's really quite high up there. I haven't been up to the top yet. But it looks very impressive now, that end of the Lords. Anderson ran the wicket, and that's easily turned around the corner by Moti.
Seems very comfortable, Moti, so far. 26 off 31. A lot more aggressive.
Well, these pair have put on nearly 30 already. With that flurry of boundaries, 1-2-1 was the 13's total.
Yeah. Improvement.
2 balls to go from Anderson in this over. He's got 3 for 31 at the moment. Round the wicket again. Again, flicked off their legs by Seals this time to the diminutive Duckett. It's nice and easy at the moment for them. I think we need to change the bowling here. And we'll be having a change, I think, at the end of this over. The Bishop is going to come in. Hector's going to do ball by ball. And I believe
Messi's due
to come back as well.
He's never far away.
So last ball of the over, last ball of my spell. That's close to being LBW, but just perhaps outside the line. Anderson chokes off an appeal. That's the end of the over. West Indies 130 for 9, and we're going to have a switch around, and that's probably me done for the day.
Well, that's what I said half an hour ago, but it turned out not to be the case. This is the highest partnership of the innings, I'll have you know.
I'll make 170, I told you.
England just can't polish off the tail, can they? It's quite funny, actually. Mind you, if Jimmy had just caught that sitter, then they wouldn't be still out there. Maybe there's the England cricket board has said, look, we need to do how many overs it is so that we don't have to refund everybody the full fee. What's the refund policy, Tony?
Atkinson starts his over from the pavilion end. In shorter, pulled from Seals out to Bashir. Deep backward square leg will run through for 1.
Still on. Jimmy's finishing winning the game with the final wicket is still not too shabby. He's not going to get his 5 for, is he?
No. Well, I couldn't work out the caught and bowled. I don't know whether he thought it was a bump ball and just to stop.
I think it just took him by surprise. I think he should have gone for it with both hands, but that's easy to say in hindsight.
Almost had too much time. Atkinson in again. Short again and slashed by Moti. I believe top edged over the diving glove of Smith, and that'll run away for another 4. He moves to 30.
I mean, how often, Hector, do fourth inning, ninth wicket stands frustrate?
Well, I'm enjoying this actually. I'm hoping the West Indies can get a bit of momentum going into at least going into Trent Bridge. Moti's sadly be feeling good. 30 off 33.
Yeah. He's been superb, showing a bit of fight.
Atkinson again short, and Moti just punches that to backward point. Chris Wokes, I believe. Atkinson's had an unbelievable debut, 4 for 60 in this innings. 7 for however many it was in the first. He'll hopefully be around for a long time. He's done the job for Surrey for a few years now.
Well, they're 115 behind, aren't they? I mean, yeah, the result itself is not in doubt, but got to commend the fight in the West Indies here.
Oh, top edge, toe ended there by Moti, down the ground. Stokes running back, they'll just get the single, looking for 2, but Stokes does well. Single Seals, or did they take the single?
I think, well, Seals has had a go, hasn't he? He's nearly 8 off 10, but they think they clearly Moti is the one they feel that can most prolong proceedings. They're trying to keep him on strike to a certain extent. How old was Atkinson? Was 5 when Jimmy played his first test.
Basically, England want 3 more overs bowled so they don't have to refund anybody.
There it is, Fuller from Atkinson, just driven to the hands of Ben Stokes at mid-off, 88 miles an hour.
Yeah, down a bit of just tucked in a bit.
What is 25 overs in the day's play is sufficient to avoid having to pay any refunds, I understand it.
I think we said it earlier, didn't we? Most people would think they'd had their money's worth just to see Jimmy's farewell to a certain extent.
Last over of Atkinson. Oh, and that's pulled high from Seals. Duckett takes the catch. And there it is. Atkinson has the wicket. He has his fifer. And with that wicket comes the end of Jimmy Anderson's incredible Test career. 189 matches, 704 wickets. England win by 114 runs. And questions will be asked of West Indies, but for now, it's Jimmy's moment. Nice wicket to end. Pulled and caught. Deep square leg by Ben Duckett.
A very cool catch, wasn't it? I mean, it just didn't move, put his hands up. It was like practicing in the park with your kids.
Nice way to get
absolutely
12.
Cool as you like. I think it's a fourfer for Gus, isn't it, rather than a fifer? But he's obviously got to his 10.
Oh, I thought
you might be right. I will double check that.
England win by an innings.
That's 5 for 61 here.
Oh, well done. I was completely wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. So I guess now it's all about Jimmy, isn't it? It's all about the way he says goodbye.
Well, his family looked pretty emotional in the stands there, in the mound stand, as celebrations will begin.
An innings of 114 runs. Perfect basis upon which to bounce back in the next match, right?
What, for the Windies?
Yeah.
I'll say it again. Not enough practice, but I understand the constraints of time. Judge him after 3 tests. Don't judge him after this one. It was a difficult toss to lose, and on a very difficult conditions at Lords. But for now, Hector, just talk us through here what we're seeing. It's quite a moment in British sport, really.
Well, Jimmy with tears in his eyes, being clapped off, standing ovation by all. Everyone waiting for him to walk off the field, paying his respects to all parts of the ground as one of the photographers tripped up, trying to take his picture, and is about to walk into the pavilion. Takes one last look at the ground, one last look at the fans as he walks in to shake the hands of the West Indian captain Craig Brathwaite and the rest of the team following him.
That's Mrs. Anderson, isn't it, we're looking at there?
And the tail enders.
Yep. Well, I mean, where did he finish in the end? 703 for to add to 1, so he ended up with 4. So he ended up with 704, didn't he?
26.46 over the whole of his career.
Incredible.
Not bad. Not bad.
Well, better than not bad. Absolutely extraordinary performer for England, and I think they will find it hard, Hector. I think they will find it hard. I understand the vision for you want someone who's going to be firing on harder Aussie wickets come the Ashes. I understand it, but I think they're going to find him difficult to replace. I genuinely do.
I agree. Silver lining though, Gus Atkinson, of course. Unbelievable Test match. I'm hoping he'll be around for a long time to come. How old is he? 25?
Yeah, no, he's that is definitely an upside from an England perspective. He has been well, not a revelation, because I'm sure people who watch Surrey regularly would say that we could see that.
Yeah.
One,
He's been around a while.
Quiet word for Duckett.
Yeah.
Took that catch so well. So we'll run through the honours of Jimmy. Mark Vermeulen of Zimbabwe in 2003, bowled. That was his first wicket. 100th, Jacques Callis.
This could be a long wrap up.
No, it won't. I can speed it. Peter Siddle, 200th. 2 metre Peter, Fulton of New Zealand. He was 300. Let me see. Dinesh Ramdin, I think, was 300. 400 was Martin Guptill of the famous toes fame. 500, Craig Brathwaite. There you go.
Same for Brody, I think.
Yeah. 600 was against Pakistan, Azhar Ali, I think. 700 Kuldeep Yadav, of course, in Dharamsala. Well, there we go. There we go. What are you looking for, Bear? Oh, empty cup. The bear. Since I've
You
got to say,
you don't have to talk about them on air, Tony. Stephen Kelk says, what's the Patreon refund policy if a game only lasts 2.5 days? It's asking for a friend.
well,
good luck with that.
yes, in the nicest possible way, I would go along with that. And we aren't going to close today without telling you about our new Patreon levels. But message, do you want to just give us some thoughts and messages?
Yeah, well, Mog, in the nicest possible way, says, "Fuck off, Jimmy."
Well,
Henry Cartero says, "I'm 80 years old. I'm 80 years old. Fred Truman was the king then. I shook Anderson's hand at Old Trafford." Martley says, "Thanks for the coverage, primates. Take a bow, Jimmy. See you all next match." That's Thursday.
That is Thursday.
10 to 11 at Trent Bridge. Stephen Kelk says, "Goodbye, Jimmy. Thanks for the many, many good times. Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy forever." Who got man of the match? Says Jamal the Statsman. I'm sure that will be Atkinson with 12 wickets. Why is Jimmy being mothballed? Says Mr. P. Well,
that's a big discussion. In short, the summary version, Hector, I think, is looking to the Ashes. Is he going to be our best bowling bet when they come around next? If not, when you've got comparatively, let's say, low-key test series this summer, take the opportunity. You could see both sides of it. It must have been a hard conversation to have. As Jimmy himself said when he got the call to attend a hotel with the three big dogs, he thought, it's not going to go well for me, this conversation, and I think he was resigned to it by the time the conversation was had. The proof will be in the pudding in the future.
Yeah.
Nobody is immortal.
Mr. Olite puts it well. He says, "Utterly devastated we no longer have Jimmy. It'll feel like something's missing for years." Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of cricket followers have never known an England team without Jimmy, really, isn't there?
Well, there are plenty of people like that. Rob Key said, "We are trying to set up an elite coach development programme, which Jimmy wants to do. But we'll have to look at that at the end of the summer. It might be something he enjoys, might be something he doesn't," which sounds very Rob Key, doesn't it? But he's got so much to offer English cricket, so we don't want to see that go. But it's going to be quite an occasion with him bowling out at Lords. Yes, it was. I suppose, Hector, it could have gone that little bit better, couldn't it, for Jimmy?
Well, the first innings was just a little bit disappointing that obviously Atkinson stole all 7 of those wickets, and he didn't have enough time to really get into a swing. Second innings, I thought he bowled really nicely. Obviously, a couple set up deliveries, looking really good. But as they say, I think they're just looking to bleed in the new generation of seam bowlers, and unfortunately, Jimmy.
I mean, even his Lords figures are pretty impressive. 28 played, 28, 119 wickets. That's just at Lords. At 25, obviously the best bowling, 7 for 42, which he did get. Craig Brathwaite, Powell, Roston Chase, Jermaine Blackwood, Shy Hope, Devendra Bishu, and Kemar Roach he got there. Well, there's a couple of names there as well that you think, well, if they were in this West Indies team, there might have been just a little bit more steel for them. So you're a West Indian listener, I think you may well feel that a couple of batters light of being genuinely competitive, but blooding young talent is a good thing. I say again, I think they got a tough break. First, difficult conditions at Lords, difficult toss to lose, and then on the back foot from there, really. Heads up and onwards to Trent Bridge, and let's see how the West Indies go there. But it has really all been about Jimmy Anderson, I think, has this. Well done to Gus, who must feel ever so slightly, Hector, and I know you're going to be a fan of Gus, being a man of Surrey. He's not going to be feeling guilty, but he is going to be feeling, oh, gosh, think, man, I got 10 wickets here in my first ever debut test, and no one's going to really care that much.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like Jamie Smith holding out in the deep, depriving Jimmy of facing a ball. I think they might just be feeling a little bit sad. Well, not sad, but obviously they won the game, but wished that Jimmy would do a little bit more. 3 wickets though, can't complain. The England team all seem to have a Guinness in hand now, which is nice.
Well, yeah, you wonder if Guinness have paid for that privilege, and fair enough if they have, to be honest. The question, I guess the other question is are we ever going to see the like of a quick bowler, who will end up with anything like it. I think that's a record from a pace bowling perspective that I'd stake my life would never be broken. I just don't think they're going to play enough Test cricket.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, just the stamina you've got to have to go. How old is he? 42.
Yes, that's correct.
But having enough Test matches available too, I think Tony's right. I think we may well be looking at just 4 Test nations playing Test cricket within 5 years.
Quite interesting to think. What Stuart Broad said. He said he described him as shy, a bit scary, and a bowling addict. Since our breakthrough, said Broady, together in New Zealand in 2008, Jimmy and I have grown very close. He is my bowling partner and friend, and the king of card games, as well as the king of swing. Well, there you go. His mum and dad keep a low profile, as we've seen, but they've all been there in force to support him. His dad's a Burnley fan. So Broady goes to watch Burnley when they play Forest with Jimmy's dad, Michael. And it's quite interesting. Apparently he'd said to Jimmy's dad, "Burnley have reached the Premier League. How excited are you, Michael?" Who's Jimmy's dad. To which Michael replied, "Yes, all right." Which sounds to me a very sort of Anderson-style response, I think.
Indeed.
When you
440 Test wickets in England, Jimmy took. That's quite a few too. What do you think about it?
Well, he's there now in the dressing room. You're right. I think Ben Stokes has got a well-earned pint in his hand. He can think, well, that none of these conversations are going to be about me for a while.
Sorry, they've updated 438 Test wickets, I should say, in England.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, he has fantastic figures in India, and not many English pacers can claim that particular honour. He's got good figures there as well. It's interestingly enough, for a team that's just absolutely romped home in a Test match, that's a very quiet, almost subdued England dressing room that the camera is panning around now. And I think the reason for that is Jimmy's being interviewed. Nasser's got himself in there with a microphone under Jimmy's nose, and I suspect they're all just listening out of respect. He's close. He's on the edge, isn't he? You can see he's on the edge there as he's talking.
Had an emotional evening last night. Put the dark sunglasses on to hide the tears. I think
he did.
Quiz night question for you. In which country does Jimmy have the best bowling average?
Ooh, that's a good question. And I'm guessing by the way you've asked the question, it's probably not England, Messrs.
No, it's not.
It's not in India, is it, by any chance?
No.
Oh, right.
South Africa?
No. He only played 2 Test matches there.
Really?
He took 8 wickets.
Zimbabwe?
Nope.
Where would he have only played 2 Test matches? Ireland?
Pakistan.
Oh, has he only played 2 in Pakistan? Really?
Yeah.
Well.
Because he would have played others against Pakistan. He played 6 in the UAE, and I assume they're all against Pakistan, where he also had an amazing average as well. UAE is his second lowest. So against Pakistan, he was devastating away, which was interesting.
Well, it's interesting because there's a quite often slow, low, and I suppose you don't get bunted for too many, but it does have more of a turning reputation, doesn't it? So well done for him on that front. I am amazed that he's only played two Test matches there. That's quite remarkable.
Well, we went through 10 years with no Test matches in Pakistan. Remember that?
Yeah, that is very true.
It may have been longer actually.
Well, anyway, proceedings have drawn to a close here. Ben Stokes is looking very thoughtful and quiet over Jimmy's shoulder there. England have won by an innings and 114 runs. Maybe. I mean, embracing walking towards the danger and all the mantras of the Stokey Cullum Bazball era. Just somewhere in the back of Ben Stokes' head, he might be thinking, "Fuck me, who am I going to bring on to bowl if we need a wicket?" So there might be an element of that. Let's just, while Jimmy is seen just holding it together pretty well actually, with a pint in his hand and chatting away to Nasser. Would it have been a vastly different result if England had chosen to bat, Hector, do you think?
Well, I don't think the result would have been different. I think maybe the margin, because England were very lucky with the conditions we had. West Indies certainly, not drastically, but they did have the worst of the conditions when they were batting. The ball was hooping around more, slightly more overcast, and then especially in the English innings, it seemed a lot warmer, a lot more sunny. The outfield seemed to harden up a little bit, but no, I think just the way the West Indies played today, personally, they played this whole Test match. They just didn't look as convincing, as cutthroat as they should be. And the question is now, going into the second Test match, do they make any changes? What do they do now?
Yeah, I think that's more than fair enough. I think it would have been a longer game than the 2 and a bit days that we've had here. Yeah. But it was perfect conditions. Perfect conditions for Jimmy. It was surprising to a certain extent, I think, Messers, that they looked a bit toothless when they got the ball first off. The West Indies actually looked comfortable enough for a while, didn't they?
Well, I think there was a certain rustiness involved. Wokes in particular, I think, just needs some overs in his legs in Test cricket, because he has been out of Test cricket for quite a long time, and just getting back into the rhythm. I felt he was looking much better towards the end of the second innings, and I think as the year goes on, he'll actually become more and more effective. But the first of a series for fast bowlers is sometimes quite challenging, just getting that rhythm right for Test cricket after all the white ball cricket that's been going on.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see too what the situation is with Shamar Joseph and his injury.
Yeah. Well, it looked like a groin, didn't it, or a hamstring, as one or the other. I'm not entirely sure. I've got a few here of those records that are possibly never going to be broken. Jack Nicklaus's 18 major titles might well be up there. Mark Cavendish's tally of stage wins at the Tour de France. Usain Bolt's fastest 100 metres. I'm not sure about that. At some point, somebody somewhere is gonna do that. Brian Talbot's record for the number of games played in a single season in the top flight. Yeah, I think he played literally every game. Jason will know that. It hasn't got Jason's buses on journeys to Sydenham, but that probably should be on the list.
Well, I can give you one that definitely will never be beaten.
What's that?
Ken Suttle played 423 consecutive county championship matches for Sussex.
Okay. Rafa Nadal's dominance on clay. Rogerio Seri's goal scoring record for a goalkeeper. Okay, possibly. Don Bradman, of course, I guess. The Test average is going to be hard to beat. Lester Piggott's classic wins. Even David Boone's drinking of the 52 cans on the flight.
I'm sure somebody will beat that in the Australian side.
Are all up there. But those 704 wickets for Jimmy Anderson as a fast bowler in Test cricket over the period of time he did it, I suspect my toes would have been turned up. When they are, I very much doubt that wicket will have been overhauled, Jace.
I've got one for you.
Go on then.
Jonathan Edwards' long jump, triple jump record. No one's been close to it in 25 years.
Fair enough. A long jump.
Drugs are no good these days,
not triple jump. Triple jump. That's that weird hop skip jump thing, isn't it?
I think we should wrap up, fellas.
Well, we probably should. Jason's come in. Have you popped in with some specific thoughts? Patreon. The one thing I was going to do is help us on Patreon. It keeps our show on the road. You can go to our website. The first thing you see if you go to guerrillacricket.com now is an article about why we need your help on Patreon. It's from the heart. It explains what we do, and it says why we need your help to do it. We've reworked our Patreon levels. You can also go to patreon.com/guerrillacricket, and you'll find different choices, but it means that essentially we can find a new home and we can continue to broadcast free to the world on Patreon. You can start off, I think, at $5 from memory. That gets our undying gratitude. It also gets you the chance to chat with fellow Patreons in the equivalent of our sort of green room on Discord. $20 gets you a studio guest membership. $50 gets you a studio silver membership, and you get the chance to promote your business and other things. Our patrons have kept us afloat really since 2014 when we moved on from being Test Match Sofa to Guerrilla Cricket. If we can double the amount of money we get through Patreon, we can keep going. We have already starting to look at studios to keep us on the road, but it's going to take more money than we currently get every month, so we need your help. Anything you can do, please go and have a look and help us out. And that's probably,
in the words of Bob Geldof and the Bear,
just give us your fucking money.
Yep, that's the one.
I'd be a bit more polite than that. Right, well, chaps,
I was going to say effing, but
give us your effing money, effing ham. Very final thoughts from you, Jace.
It's been a privilege to watch his career from start to finish. I don't think anyone will ever get close to his several of his records. I mean, 188 tests is a huge number for a fast bowler. 700 wickets for a fast bowler is a huge number. And the fact is that he could still play for another 18 months if he were allowed to, I think.
Yeah, well, and he might even go on and play for Lancashire. He does love bowling. He's a bowling addict, as the man who's on our screen in front of us now, Stuart Broad, says. I've already said my piece. I think it's a record that won't be broken. Hector, final thoughts from you?
Well, another great way to start the Test match summer, and shame to see Jimmy go, but looking forward to the rest of the series.
Well, we're looking forward to you joining us, and we're looking forward to everyone else joining us. We're not going to play out with our theme tune. Sorry, Messrs. Final message.
One remaining question.
Yes.
Knighthood or peerage for Jimmy?
Good question. I'd say knighthood. I suspect he might be down at the OBE level. Anything less would not be right.
If Alistair Cook gets a knighthood, then Jimmy definitely.
I think that's, if that's your light. Yeah, it's a bit like the light meter test, isn't it? You know, when you've taken the light for the day, if that's it for the rest of the test. I think as awards for cricketers go, then if Alistair Cook got one, then I think you're absolutely right.
I imagine he'll be a life peer, and he will be
Lord Anderson of Burnley.
Lord Anderson of Burnley.
What a thought!
Bowling from the Anderson end. He'll be the latest and possibly the last Lord to play in first-class cricket.
Well, there were a few in the past, of course. You're absolutely right. Okay, we've had a ball in your company. I'm sorry it didn't last longer. Well, that's an apology I've made before, but nonetheless, it's really been all about. It's really been
as
all
about.
As
the bishop, to an actress by any chance?
No. It's really been all about Jimmy Anderson here. That is for sure. And we're going to play out with a couple of our own farewells to the great man. And thank you for your company.
Is it because he's ancient, born centuries so long past? Or is it that management are really kind of fucking daft? Jimmy, bowl what you wanna bowl as long as you wanna bowl. Jimmy, just cause you're getting old don't mean you gotta go. You grumpy old bastard, even as a young kid. I got
Well, I mucked that up, didn't I? But for some reason, Ben Stokes' jingle has found its way in between the Jimmy tribute jingles, and I have absolutely no idea why. Maybe I'm just going to move that one over there. Okay. Well, I'm just going to play that one again. Oh, God. Trust Tony to screw up the final moment. I got that utterly all wrong. Oh, God. Give it a moment.
Just cause you're getting old, don't mean you gotta go. No, don't mean you gotta go.
They have no idea. Everything's going off. Okay. I gotta wait for it to finish. Here we go. Now I'm gonna play this one.
At first he was only a one-trick thing. Was hittable if it didn't swing, but deadly when it did. Nowhere that you could have hid. Feast or famine when he had a fling. After Bugger got bashed out by Bailey, got cannier and craftier and cagey. Almost always got it right, and at least would keep it tight. Now finally it's time to say goodnight. Fuck off, Jimmy, fuck off, fuck off. Fuck off, Jimmy, good luck.
Right, well anyway.